Now usually with bigger titles such as this, I'll leave somebody else to go ahead and create the videos going over all the details and all that other good stuff. But after seeing just all this information that Bioware's kind of been pouring out, and there's still so much more that hasn't even been released, I was absolutely ecstatic for Dragon Age Inquisition. So it makes sense that I would make a video giving my impressions as well as the details so far about this game. The new trailer, which if you haven't seen it, I'm going to go ahead and then leave a little link up here on the side, showing you, and you really should go see it, as well as even the E3 trailer. There's just so much going on, both of them. It's just absolute chaos, and I'm loving every moment of it. And if you're completely unfamiliar with Dragon Age, I actually did a little podcast with a friend, Mark Crown Stories. You can go ahead and check out his Crowncast, where we discuss a lot of the lore, or definitely go pick it up yourself. That's probably the best thing I could recommend. Play Dragon Age Origins, all the expansions, Dragon Age 2, all the expansions for that. It's really a great RPG. It's probably one of the best ones I've played in a very long time. And you can bet your ass I'm probably actually going to be going through Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 on this channel, leading up to the point of Inquisition. But that's not why you're watching this. You're watching this because you saw the whole thing about details. And so far what we have is, with Dragon Age Inquisition, is the release date is going to be October 7th here in the United States. It's going to be on Xbox 360, it's going to be on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, as well as the PC. So anybody who's on the older gen, you're not going to be left out. You're going to have the opportunity to enjoy this game just as much as a lot of people who have the next-gen systems. And it's going to be running off of EA's Frostbite 3 engine, so that's what allows them to get away with such amazing graphics they've shown off so far, as well as some of the indestructible environments and things of that nature that I'll be going over as well. And even as far as your previous save states, or what they refer to as world states, they are still not entirely sure how they're going to go about it. The only thing they have set in stone is they're going to have a system known as Dragon Age Keep. And what that's going to do is allow you to go ahead and create your own story as far as what happens leading up to Dragon Age Inquisition. As far as people with their previous saves on Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, or even in the case of PC, what they're thinking about doing is having the ability to go ahead and import into Dragon Age Keep, which is going to be not only cross-generational, but also cross-platform. So if you had a PC save, what they're saying is you should be able to, if they go that route, import it into Dragon Age Keep with an internet connection from your console to go ahead and put it into that system, tinker around with it, and from PC, probably even play on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, whatever you want to go ahead and play it on. The story of Dragon Age Inquisition takes place roughly around 3 to 4 years after the events that take place at the end of Dragon Age 2, which ends up sparking a major war between the Mages and the Templars, which has kind of been boiling up from the very beginning of Dragon Age, but kind of got to that boiling point in Dragon Age 2, which is now what we have here in Dragon Age 3. Not only that, but there's also a civil war that's going on in Orlais between the Empress Celine and her rich noble cousin who's trying to take over Expard, which is actually going to be in the Dragon Age novel. That's if you want to figure out what's going on and how the hell that happened. But to make matters even worse, between all of this, there's a huge gaping hole that ripped in the sky that's just a huge, what they're calling the breach, that goes through the actual veil to the Fade. So you have demons just pouring into the world between all this other chaos that's going on. Nobody has any idea why any of this is even happening, which is why your character, after being found in the middle of a whole bunch of dead people, and you're the only one that survived, and you got the crazy shiny green hand, which a lot of people think it makes you have to do with the green hole in the sky known as the breach. You seem to be the only person that they believe that can kind of stop this. But even Bioware is like, oh, we're not going to say anything. You can kind of either go like, yes, I am the chosen one, or be like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But it's up to you to create the Inquisition, once again, to bring all these people together, try and figure out who these agents of chaos are, who's responsible, bring them to justice, and kind of save the world just from tearing itself apart. Character creation is back, but they said there's probably not going to be as much as far as a whole bunch of sliders are concerned, because they're more focused on having the ability to have multiple different characters to choose from. Because just like Dragon Age Origins, they brought back the ability to have different origins as far as different races. So you can go ahead and play as human, you can go ahead and play as dwarf, you can play as elf, and they even add the addition of Qunari, and it can be male or female either way. But not only that, but you, for the voice actors, have two different voice actors for male and female. What they're saying is it's going to be a British accent or an American accent to go ahead and choose from. Not only that, but very similar to Dragon Age Origins, your races, the race that you choose as well as the class that you choose is going to have different identifiers that are going to have different effects as far as the game is concerned to different content or different triggers, different events that happen. People may even treat you differently based on whatever race, class, or even the combination of both may be. With just about any RPG, as well as just Dragon Age in general, you have the different classes to choose from. You have the standard warrior, but what they've mentioned as far as the specializations are concerned, you have the champion, which is going to be more of the person that could take the brunt of a lot of different hits, but also kind of buff up the party, rally them up either with offensive or defensive buffs, and kind of just be able to kick a whole lot of ass. Then you have the Templar, which is going to have the ability to do the whole anti-magic, kind of be better equipped to deal with a lot of the demons as well as rogue mages that you're going to be fighting against more likely throughout Dragon Age Inquisition. And of course the Reaver, who sacrifices their own health points, their own life in a sense, to just deal out massive amounts of damage. That's what they're basically going with. Mage, you have just the classic Mage, then you have the Knight Enchanter. For anybody familiar with Dragon Age, it's actually more or less, from the way they're describing it, the same as the Arcane Warrior, to where you also have magic, but you also have the ability to wear armor to kind of protect yourself a little bit better, and even use other weaponry to be a little bit more offensive if you need to get within melee range. Now, with as far as the Mage and the Rogues concerned, they really haven't given much details as far as the other specializations, so these are kind of going to be a little bit more speculation, but from the images, it's kind of hard to tell. But I'm more than sure we're probably going to see Blood Mage again as one of the other specializations for the Mage, which you kind of, similar to the Reaver, sacrifice, instead of mana, you can go ahead and sacrifice health to go ahead and be able to cast magic and do some really dark crap to go ahead and just decimate your enemies. And the other one, from the looks, is like you have one side of the face is normal, the other side of the face is kind of inverted. So a lot of people are kind of thinking it may be Shapeshifter. That's what I'm kind of feeling as well. Although it would have been nice to have a healing specialization, but it may even be that. With Rogue, you have the Artificer, as explained. It's more kind of like your trap master, the person who's going to be really getting things set up. So even before the battle starts, you can just completely take the enemy off guard and screw them over. The one icon, even though it's not described, it's pretty obvious because you can see from Dragon Age Origins, it's the same exact icon. You know it's going to be the assassin, which is going to be the person who's really just going to be the best equipped for taking out just either a single target or really just being able to kick just about anybody's ass in single combat as far as what an assassin would be used for. The last one is kind of weird because it's just a person and they just have like the Ultimate Warrior face paint. You can't tell. It's like, I'm thinking it's either going to be Shadow or Duelist. I mean, there's nothing really to say that it's really either. Shadow would kind of make sense for a rogue because you can go around sneak, stab, stab. A little bit similar to, I mean, Assassin, but obviously with the Shadow, it's more based on stealth and getting the element of surprise on your enemies. But considering the two are a little bit similar, I'm hoping it's going to be Duelist, so that way it's a little bit different. And with Duelist, you have the focus on just being able to output a lot of damage with your weapons without having to go through any of that trouble. The game still takes place in Thedas. Primarily, it's going to take place within Ferelden, which people are familiar with from Dragon Age 1, or Dragon Age Origins, along with a new area, which is going to be Orlais, and even you're going to have a little brief stint within Dales. It's a lot more, from what they're saying, massive, especially compared to Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. They're saying it's going to be an open world feeling, but it's not going to be the same true open world that you have with other traditional games such as Skyrim. So there's going to be a lot of exploration that you can go through, but it's just not going to be too crazy. And what's actually going to be great is certain areas are going to be closed off, where we won't be able to access certain parts until later on based on different triggers or different events, or once you accomplish certain things. But on that same note, based on certain actions or things that you do, certain areas may be closed off because of different decisions you make throughout the game. And the maps are actually going to be so big that there's now mounts that are available. Some of the screenshots show horses. There's also the elven mounts that you can go ahead and ride, from what a lot of people from Bioware have been kind of hinting at. There's probably would have to find the screenshot, but if I can, I'll go ahead and put it up here, of course. So that just gives you an idea of how big the maps are going to be in comparison, and it's definitely a nice change of pace compared to Dragon Age 2, which I actually like the game, but I agree with everybody else. There was no excuse for just the recycled maps. It was just awful. I mean, certain areas you're going to be going to will be, for instance, the western approach, Griffin Wing Keep, for anybody who may be familiar with that. And like I said before, Dales, you're going to be going to the Emerald Graves as well as the Exalted Plains. And even on top of that, the way it's going to be presented to the whole open world aspect of it is you're going to have on the interface, the whole compass, it's going to go ahead and show you like landmarks, points of interest to go ahead and check out, which in certain situations you may not be able to get to yet, but you can go ahead and check out, and it's going to let you know if you've been there or if you haven't, and so on. The one thing I appreciate from Bioware is they tend to listen to the community when it comes to a lot of different things. Very similar to Mass Effect 3, they've taken in consideration a lot of what the community has said and kind of brought that in. And that really shows in many different aspects, such as combat. The way combat's going to work is you're still going to have the fast-paced hack-and-slash RPG style of Dragon Age 2, but they've also brought back the more strategic aspect of the game, similar to Dragon Age Origins, especially what you saw on the PC. So we can go ahead and, if you want to, either as preparation or just even in the heat of battle, if things are getting too crazy, you can kind of pause, situate where you want people to go, set up traps, have a battle plan that you can go ahead and from there initiate against your enemies. What's going to be tricky, though, one of the differences that they have for Dragon Age Inquisition is that health does not regenerate out of battle, so you're not as safe as you think you're going to be. Not only that, but you still have spell timers, which people are already used to within Dragon Age 2. But even then, with the potions, besides the potions also having their own timers, they're saying that the amount of potions you'll have available is going to be limited. So what they're really trying to do is stress the whole aspect of strategy. They really want you to go ahead and think before you act. They don't want it to just be a blind button masher, and I can definitely respect that decision for trying to do so. And the Frostbite 3 engine is even going to play an effect. Like as I mentioned before, you have destructible environments that you can play either to your advantage or the enemies can use to their advantage against you. Not only that, but certain spells that you try and cast, for instance, if you try and come up with like an ice wall, you might have an enemy that's like, oh, you think you're safe? Fire Blast or Firebomb, then there just goes your defense, and you're just like, well, shit. And with all this chaos going around, of course, you have many different enemies that you can go ahead and fight against. Some of the new things you're going to be going against are behemoths, which look similar to some of the crazy demon golems that you fought in Dragon Age 2, your standard demons that you've been fighting since the original Dragon Age Origins, nightmares, which are kind of just like this really tall, lanky, horrific visage creatures you're going to be going against. They've added trolls. Why not? Let's kill some trolls. And of course you still always have other humans you're going to be going against. Most notably, one of the factions you're going to be fighting with is the Red Templars. Because, Templars alone just aren't bad enough. You now have Red Templars because of what happened in Dragon Age 2 and the rediscovery of red lyrium. You got, not only, like I said, just the Templars who are addicted to lyrium, but now you got Templars who are addicted to the red lyrium, so they're all like cracked out of their mind on the stuff and trying to kill you as well. It's like, you just can't win. Even dragon combat's said to be different. It's no longer going to be the static enemy that we're all used to and can plan against very easily because you already know their attack patterns or what they're going to do, or they're just kind of just sit there the entire time as you're just smacking them around. They're actually going to fly around in combat. They're going to go ahead and charge at different times, breathe fire, whatever the hell they feel they want to do. And it's also going to be different because when combat with them is no longer going to be the way it was before, like in Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, to where if you hit them, you're hitting their whole body. You're actually just going to be hitting different parts of them, which will affect combat. So you can go ahead and target either their legs, their wings, or even their head, and that will affect combat with the dragons. So they're going to be a lot more fierce, at least from what Bioware said so far, and it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Another thing that Bioware has announced, as far as gameplay is concerned, is a whole gathering of resources as well as just information is going to be key in Dragon Age Inquisition, because again, you're trying to figure out what's going on. There might be certain resources and things that you would need for the Inquisition to help you kind of succeed in your mission of finding out who the hell is doing all this, and better yet, stopping them. And one of the ways you can go ahead and accomplish that is through capturing keeps. After finding a keep and then taking it from whoever may currently be the owner, you can go ahead and take that keep and convert it for the need of espionage. You can be better at having spies gathering information as far as the events going on throughout Thedas, or even for trade, because you're going to need gold, you're going to need supplies, you're going to need to work with other people in order to accomplish that mission, or even just for military might, because you're going to need soldiers to fight the war, and you're not going to be able to get anywhere without them. The official site suggests that there's actually going to be 9 companions that the Inquisitor is going to have to choose from as far as the party that he or she will be traveling with. The only ones that are confirmed so far are Cassandra. She's the human seeker, who's going to be a warrior and a potential love interest. You have Iron Bull, who's actually going to be a male warrior, more like a berserker style. He's no longer with the Qunari, he's the Tal Vashoth warrior. You have Sarah, the elf archer. She's going to be joining you as well. Solus, the male elf apostate mage. Of course, Varric. I really don't think I need to go into much description for Varric, but I'm very glad he's back in this game. The guy's just awesome. And Vivian, which I think is the pronunciation for it. If not, go ahead and feel free to just slaughter me in the comments. And she's an Orlesian mage and former senior enchanter who's going to be joining you. Those are the only ones confirmed so far. We're going to have more information as I'm sure things continue. And you're going to see a lot of either familiar faces or even just new faces to the series. They're going to be included as well. What they have already mentioned is Alistair is going to be back, to the disappointment of some people, to the joy of others. And he'll either be a Grey Warden or a King, depending on what you chose for that character throughout Dragon Age 1, or Dragon Age Origins. Cullen is back, much to I'm seeing like a lot of different fangirls are crazy about that. Now, Cullen has neither been confirmed nor denied as being either an NPC or an actual companion, so that's still kind of out there, but considering the fact they're dodging it, he'll probably be one of the companions. But no matter what, it is already confirmed that Cullen will be a love interest. For people who aren't familiar with Cullen, Cullen is one of the Knight Templars from Dragon Age Origins as well as Dragon Age 2, and has been through a lot regarding the whole Mage conflict. Liliana's back. Again, not confirmed as a party member or necessarily just an NPC, but she also has a part to play in the story. It's nice to see her again. Of course, the one person that everybody was looking most forward to, especially considering almost everybody has romanced her, and she plays a major role in it, is Morgan. She's actually with Empress Celine over in Orlais, working as her kind of senior enchanter, the one who's helping her to try and understand magic, and is basically seen as her advisor. And we're not exactly sure what role she's going to play. Obviously, she's going to play a role in it. You've seen her in the E3 trailer, and I don't necessarily think she's a bad guy. She's always been more about herself. And she has shown to have some compassion based on, again, different events that happen within the expansions of Dragon Age Origins. But there's also the whole thing with the Godchild that even Bioware said is going to have more than just a passing reference within this story. So we're going to see what goes on with that. But they did say that Morgan is only going to be an NPC. She's definitely not going to be a party member this time around. Thamond is going to be one of your, I would have to say, almost like, from what they're describing, your right hand as far as the Inquisition is concerned, is human captain who kind of just takes care of things for you. And there's also an unannounced character from the Dragon Age Asunder novel. They're being still very hush-hush about who that is, but there's a lot of speculation going on as far as who people think it's going to be. And what's very cool, and what a lot of people really wanted to see in comparison to Dragon Age 2, is you can go ahead and re-equip your party members with just about whatever armor you want to. It's not just like grab the pieces, not much customization before. But what's great is now the armor depending on, you can have the same one piece of armor, equip it amongst 3 different party members, and what it does is it now kind of morphs to fit that character, so that way it feels like the character's still more unique. So again, even though you have the 3 different characters all wearing the same exact type of armor, each of them will still look different from what they're saying. And the dialogue options are still the same, still the whole wheel thing. And the one thing I appreciate is it's not necessarily the whole black and white, good, evil, Paragon, Renegade style morality system. It's more just, are you going to piss off your teammates, or are you going to do something that they like? And it's not always going to be the same for each person. Romance, however, is not going to be as easy as just go ahead and throwing gifts at your companions until they love you, and then you can have the whole romance subplot. The way it's going to work now, and it's kind of what has happened in previous games, is it's going to be almost completely based off situations, how you handle them, as well as dialogue. They really want it to feel more real than just, again, tossing gifts and winning your way to the person's heart that way. Now, the things that haven't really been talked about, but the things to consider, and definitely things I've been considering, is what happened to the hero of Ferelden as well as the champion of Kirkwall. Now, at the end of Dragon Age 2, you see Cassandra as well as Liliana kind of discuss the fate of those original characters, and both of them have apparently disappeared, but is believed to play a major role in the conflict and all the craziness of the Circle of Magi and the Templar Order fighting and just a lot of the other chaos that's going on. And the Bioware developers have said that they may appear at one point. I'm hoping we get more than just a passing reference in regards to those 2 characters, because some of us have become rather attached to their stories, or just really enjoyed what happened with them. And considering all that's going on, it would be nice to see them involved in at least some way. Unless they're planning to make a Dragon Age 4, I've joked with Crown about this in regards to them being party members, which they probably couldn't do, but it's just a thought would be amazing to see. Yeah, it would just be nice to see what happened, get something a little bit more out of all that time with those stories and those decisions, besides what we see in Dragon Age Inquisition. Another thing I want to know is what role Flemeth is going to play. Obviously, she's going to be a villain. A lot of people think she's going to be the main villain, and that's very understandable. But the one thing I'm wondering about is she really the one pulling all the strings, or is there somebody else who's playing the puppet master who's even pulling her strings? I would be happy either way if Flemeth is the big bad that you're going to be fighting off in the very end. Totally understandable, especially because Morgan at the end of the Witch Hunt DLC, sorry if it's a spoiler, kind of even says that she's not even human. She never even was. She's just this horrific, undescribable thing that absolutely must be stopped at all cost. So her being the final conflict, is, from just off that alone, is I'll accept it. So be it. And it's also funny because I'm not even really so much a Harry Potter fan. I just know it because of my wife, but she has the whole Horcrux things too. It's like, all right, you killed her in Dragon Age. Sorry, still spoilers. You could kill her in Dragon Age. But other than that, in Dragon Age 2, you see her fit as a fiddle and she's fine, and you held a little trinket that had a piece of her, and she even says, oh, I can just kind of go back and forth. So it's almost as if she's immortal. So to finally see whether or not you could stop her that way, who knows? And even then, I've already mentioned kind of the whole Morgan godchild. I just want to kind of see how that's going to play out, because some people may have not have made that option, but by canon, one way or another, she got her way and she got the godchild. So to see either if it's going to be at the center, or maybe it's going to, the godchild's going to somehow be able to help you in the conflict, who knows? But it's definitely a plot point I would like to see resolved in Dragon Age Inquisition as well. So there you have it. I said that's kind of my impressions. I'm like definitely in details. I'm excited for it. I'm kind of just rambling all over the place about it. And again, if you haven't played Dragon Age, definitely do yourself a favor, especially if you love RPGs or high fantasy or the combination of the two. It's a game that should not be passed up. Play 1, play 2, get 3 when it comes out. Have fun with it, because this really looks like they've taken all the best parts of Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and cut out most of the crap. Only time will tell once it's released. But it looks like they're really on point with this one. I can't wait to play. And for anybody who subscribed to this channel, actually watches my playthroughs, besides this discussion video, like I said, I definitely will be doing a full playthrough of Dragon Age Origins as well as Dragon Age 2. I'm talking all the expansions as well, even Awakening. So it's going to be a lot to see, a lot of content to be going through to get to that point. Probably may not finish, depending on time, until Dragon Age Inquisition even comes out. Who knows? Even on top of that, if you're interested about the Crowncast, where Mark Crown and I are discussing about Dragon Age and the whole universe and our excitement for it, I'm going to go ahead and put up a link again right here for you to go ahead and check that out. It's actually going to be to his channel. Definitely need to subscribe. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff that, in regards to his Crowncast, he is always talking about very interesting things, and definitely worth checking out, and even checking out once he does post up the whole Dragon Age discussion. And thanks for listening, and until next time.
Nice.
Mike, what the hell was that?
I fired a missile at the palace.